Good morning on this Soulful Sunday. Good morning on this Soulful Sunday. Just wanted to come in before I head to church to have a very transparent and vulnerable conversations. Soulful Sunday is about acknowledging our difficulty, accepting our challenges, and giving God complete control authority to bring change amongst whatever area or situation that may need some adjustments. And God has been challenging me to step out and be bold to address things that affect our healing, affect our self-discovery, affect our transformation, and affect maturity. And today I want to discuss the subject of detrimental spirits. Detrimental spirits. And the way that God broke it down to me is detrimental spirits are the root of unhealthiness, unhappiness, self-destruction, and lack of peace. And when I looked up the word detrimental, it said tending to cause harm. That could be harm to yourself, harm to those around you, or harm to a certain environment. I want to ask these questions. Who are you sharing space with on a daily basis? What characteristics and what traits do they carry? Are your friendships, your circles, your associates, are they strengthening or motivating you? Or are they weakening and depleting you? Are they changing you for the good or changing you for the bad? Something that I have come to believe, the spirits do transfer. And I believe they can transfer through the space that we share with people. If you are in a space with someone long enough, often, daily, repeatedly, and they are giving off negative energy, sometimes we will find ourselves doing what they do. Transfer of spirits. And if we have a spouse or a companion that is dealing with something, feeling some type of way, and we begin to engage in sexual activity, that spirit can also transfer. That's why people are now talking about soul ties. Yesterday in my ministry class, one of the ladies said something that was very enlightening to me. And it made me reflect about my own actions, my own responses. And she said, ministers have to be very careful of the environments they place themselves in, knowing that they are either dealing with a weakness or a challenge in a certain area, that they have not been delivered from something. And you're trying to take yourself back in it and risking yourself slipping back into temptation. And that stood out to me like never before, because I found myself on Friday stepping outside of my character and responding negatively to a situation that God had even begun to show me days prior the characteristics and traits of a person. Some of the traits that we deal with: spirits of manipulation, spirits of toxicity, and spirits of corruption. Corruption, when I looked up the word corruption, it talked about falsification. And the way that I would view that would be becoming someone that you're not, because you're around somebody that is corrupt with a negative spirit. Some people are happy with how they are, what they do, and the energy that they give off. But at times we have to evaluate our friendships and our connections and our environments and the people that we associate with. And one of the things that the Holy Spirit allowed me to see now, but it's something that I've always been challenged with, is being in the same space with detrimental female association. Females that give off negative energy, that feed off each other in a negative way, that appears nothing great, nothing mature, nothing wise coming from that circle, has always irritated me. And that's one reason why my circle has always remained small. It's one reason why I've always not really opened up to a lot of female friendships. And I had to challenge myself in this particular area when I decided to do ministry. I've been challenged with this very thing in my family, and I cut the person off. I built a relationship with someone in my spiritual circle, and it hurt me, but I had to disconnect myself. And now I find myself walking into a workplace daily where this very thing exists, and I have no control of limiting them completely, I should say. And it was this morning that God reminded me that Keisha, is not by mistake that on Monday you did a prayer for distractions and disruption. 4 days later, you now face a challenge of something. It was over distractions and disturbances. And 4 days later, you now are challenged with something that was disturbing your spirit. And I acknowledge that in ministry, I have to address it. I have to improve it. And I have to give God complete authority. Because I don't know who He will assign me to help or to minister to encourage, to motivate. But I do know what I cannot handle. I do know what disturbs my spirit. And I do know what I have a low tolerance for. So I'm thankful for the experience on Friday because it opened up the awareness for me to do things differently, to find some adjustments, and to ask God for help in this very area. I'm thankful for the experience. Sometimes we don't know how our breakthrough is going to come. Sometimes we don't understand, again, as I've been saying for these last couple of weeks, how difficulty is going to present a new shifting for us. But in the moment of the difficulty, we have to sit and reflect. We have to sit and evaluate. And we have to wait for God to speak, to show us a different response and how to readjust ourselves. I really pray that this message will help someone, because as God is calling me out of my boldness, I realize that we don't have these conversations. These are the things that affect our healing, our self-discovery, our transformation, and it affects us becoming mature enough to move forward. I pray that this video has helped somebody, and I pray that it will bring a sense of awareness to the person who needed to hear this.